Hi friends, hi boys and girls. It is Bible time with Mrs.Tschida and I am once again in my tent. And I just wanted to come to you from the tent because we're continuing to talk about the man named Abraham. And if you remember, Abraham is the one that God gave a big promise to. He told him he would have as many sons and daughters as the stars in the sky. But if you remember, Abraham was old and his wife Sarah was old and they were too old to have a baby. And they didn't know how God was going to do it, but they trusted God. They believed God. They believed that God was faithful to his promise. So that's something for you to remember. God is faithful to all of his promises. So today we're going to get into our big picture Bible and we are going to find out what happened to Abraham and Sarah. And you know what this section is called? God's people grow. Oh my goodness, God's people grow. Look at her tummy is pregnant. She's got a big belly. That gives us a hint, doesn't it? At last it happened. God kept his promise to Abraham and gave him a son, Isaac. God's promise of a new people was beginning to grow. And so God's promise passed on from Abraham to Isaac. Look it. There they are. Abraham and Sarah finally had a baby, and when they were really old. And I brought today, got stuck in my toe. I brought one of my babies today. Do you have a baby, a dolly that you like to play with and be mommy or daddy to? It's so important that we practice loving others. And when we have little ones next to us and in our midst, and when we get to pretend like we're the mommy and daddy, we get to practice. We get to practice God's kindness. We get to practice what it's going to be like to be a mommy and daddy. This is the greatest promise that God gives us, is to have little children. Remember what he said to Adam and Eve? He said, be fruitful and multiply, increase on the earth. And that's what Abraham and Sarah were able to do in their very old age. I'm going to take my baby and I'm going to just put my baby wrapped in that pretty blanket. Put that baby down right there. So Abraham and Sarah have a baby named Isaac. Well, let's hear what happens. When Isaac grew up, God gave him a son named Jacob. And now God's promise was beginning to grow and grow. And God's promise passed from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. So there's all kinds of babies happening. So Abraham had a baby, Isaac, and then Isaac grew up and was a daddy. And he had a baby and he named him Jacob. Let's see what happens with Jacob. When Jacob grew up, God gave him not one baby, God gave him 12 sons. And he named them Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Zebulun, Issachar, Dan, Gad, Asher, Naphtali, Joseph, and Benjamin. Oh my goodness, do you have friends that are those names? Or maybe that's your name. Is there anybody out there named Reuben? Do you know anybody Reuben or Simeon or Levi? Judah? Zebulun? I have never met a Zebulun. Issachar? Dan? I know some Dans. Gad? I've never met a Gad. Asher? I know an Asher. Naphtali? I don't know any Naphtalis. Joseph? I have a friend who's a Joseph. And Benjamin? I know a Benjamin too. So look it. We have God's family, or Jacob's family is growing. Oh, and I forgot to turn off my sound, so you can probably hear my friend texting me right now. That's my friend Hannah. There's 12 sons in this page. I have them all numbered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That's a lot of children. How many kids are in your family? Some of you have 2 kids in your family. Some have 1, just you're the only one in your family. Some have 3 kids in their family. Some have, how many is this? 4 kids in the family. When I was raising my kids, we had 3 kids, Lindsay, Caitlin, and Jonathan. And now Lindsay has 2 babies, Silas and Weston. But some families have 5 kids. Or how many is this? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've ran out of fingers. I could add my toes and then we could do 12. There's 12 kids in Jacob's family. God's promise was beginning to grow and grow and grow. But while God's people were growing in number, remember we just saw the 12 sons. Let's see what happens. They were also growing apart. Oh my goodness. They were growing apart. Jacob's sons hated their younger brother Joseph, and they did a really evil thing. They put him in a pit, and they sold him to be a slave in a faraway place. Do you know why they hated him so much? Look at that coat that he has, that really fancy coat. None of the brothers got a coat like that, and they were really jealous of Joseph. And they started just to get angry with him, and they hated him, and they talked about him. They were so mean. Joseph was one who his father just loved him, and he made him a very special coat that showed his love and his favor for him. It was really a sad time. It was sad for Joseph. And do you think Joseph was all alone when he was sold into slavery? They took him to a faraway place. It was the nation called Egypt. Do you think Joseph was alone in that place, Egypt, in the prison? No, he was not alone. Who was with him? Who was with Joseph when he was in prison? It wasn't another friend. It was God. God was with Joseph. And God was going to use this very terrible thing that happened to Joseph. He was going to use it for good. Look at, here's a picture. They were selling him into slavery, and they got money to sell him. And here's Joseph in prison. But he wasn't sad because he knew that God was with him, and he trusted God. He knew that God had good things in store for him. So today, what we want to do, if you want to, I have a picture of Joseph. I have a little cutout of my friend Joseph, and I made a coat for him because this coat showed how special he was to his father. And I put some little blue, colored pom-poms. What are the colors that we have? There's black and green. What's this one? White. Ooh, you probably can't. This is blue. And what's this one here? Red and yellow. How many pom-poms are on his coat? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have some fun little pom-poms that you want to make a little coat, or maybe you've got some tissue paper that's all different colors and you can cut it in different squares and you can put it on, make a coat for Joseph. But I want you to remember that God loves you and you are his favorite one. You're his favorite. Just like Joseph was Jacob, his daddy's favorite, you are God's favorite. And you're probably mommy and daddy's favorite too. And you can remember how much you are loved, how much you are favored by creating a little person and making a coat. And you could even say that this is you, that you are his favorite. I have Joseph written down here on the bottom, but I could cover that up and I could say, this little person, this is Mrs.Tschida, or this is Mr. Tschida, or this is little Silas, or Weston, or Jonathan, my son. So you can make this too if you want to today. What I want you to remember, and every time we come to Bible time, I want you to remember that God loves you, that you are so special to him. You're part of his family. There is nobody like you in all the earth, all the numbers, that there's so many people on the earth, and there's no one that's just like you. You are very special to him, and you're really special to me. I love our Bible time together. So before we go today, boys and girls, I want you to remember, I'm going to hold my sign up, to be kind and be brave. What are some things that you could do this week to be kind? You could be kind to your friend. You could share your toys. You could be kind to someone if you go to preschool. You could share your crayons, or you could let somebody else have the toy that you wanted to play with. Or maybe when you're at one of the centers, you could share what you were wanting to do with one of your friends. And I want you to be brave. Do you know what? This week, my little grandchildren, Silas and Weston, had to be really brave because they sold their house that they were living in and they bought a new house. So last night was the first night that they were going to be in their brand new house. And they had to be really brave because they were sad that they left their old house to go to a new house. So what are some things that you're going to do this week? Or what are some things that you did last week that you can show your bravery, that courage that God has given you? So I want you to go this week, be kind and be brave. And remember, you are special to God and he loves you very much. All right, I'll see you next week for Bible time with Mrs. Tschida. Bye, guys.